It's 5 p.m. You're tuned in to SABC News. This is SA Today with me, Flolo Dwaba. Thank you so very much for being with us. We're coming to you live from Auckland Park in Johannesburg. The Ikhaya Lethemba today hosted a self-care and empowerment session for survivors of gender-based violence at the City of Johannesburg under the theme Know Your Rights. On the 14th of February 2013, Reeva Steenkamp was killed, and Khaya Lethemba, a Gauteng flagship program, says more cases of gender-based violence are recorded on Valentine's Day. Let's talk more on this. We have victim empowerment. We have a Gauteng Provincial Coordinator for gender-based violence and femicide programs, Merita Ground. A very good afternoon to you, Merita. Thank you so very much for being with us here on SABC News.
Oh, I'm not on yet. Please, my screen disappeared.
All right, we do have you. We can continue the conversation. Merita, good afternoon to you. Merita, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
All right, let's begin then. Talk to us about the empowerment session of survivors of GBV. We do understand that it's on the back of, the 2013 Valentine's Day murder of Reeva Steenkamp by her boyfriend Oscar Pistorius. What more motivated this?
I think we all know that gender-based violence is violence that happens between two people that are in an intimate relationship. And on a specific day, like 14 February, we wanted to go out and make sure that victims and survivors of gender-based violence understand the importance of self-love and understand that there is so much more within ourselves than reaching out for romantic love, sometimes at the cost of ourselves and those that we love.
I know your job is focused, and I suppose your work is really more in Gauteng, but I'm sure you can speak on what's happening in other provinces. Our colleague here at the SABC, Dimakaso Razalani, was brutally attacked by her husband. I hope you have been following that story. We have these campaigns like the one that you're talking about now. We host these GBV empowerment sessions like the one you just hosted. How do these help in the end? Because if I'm still going to be sitting here and reporting on and talking about gender-based violence, and this is just one of many. I mean, this one hit home just because it's a colleague here at SABC, but there are obviously hundreds more that are happening in our country. So these sessions that you host as government departments and as provinces, what are they helping with when we're continuing every time to speak on these issues? Surely there's more than just talking platforms that we can do to stop gender-based violence.
Totally agree with you. It is more than just having sessions where we interact and talk, but to respond to how such sessions help. We must understand that as a democracy, we're now really allowing women that are victims or potential victims of gender-based violence a platform to stand up and to speak against gender-based violence. How does these sessions help? It helps for me as a victim to see that somebody has moved towards being a survivor. It helps when we bring forward issues that are raised in the media, abuse cases, femicide cases, and then teach 100 more that this should not be what happens to you. This is what we as government and civil society have in place to assist.
Yeah.
So it is important that we continue with such sessions because this is where empowering and education take place.
Are we not speaking to perhaps the wrong people? I mean, I think that for the most part, women do know their rights. But as you rightly said, these are intimate relationships. And sometimes, that education that you have goes out the window. You've got lawyers, doctors that are getting abused by their husbands or boyfriends. I mean, it's actually got nothing to do with the education level of a person. So I think that these women generally do know their rights. But when intimacy, as you mentioned, is in the way, that knowledge or whatever it is goes out the window. And I wonder what kind of programs you would then consider running in terms of educating men, educating boys, in terms of the issues of gender-based violence, because speaking to women might not necessarily be assisting at this time.
I think think it is imperative that we continue speaking to women, because me knowing my rights and me exercising my rights are two different things. So when we engage with women and have these sessions, it is to move from the knowing to the actual ownership and implementation of those rights. If we do that, like you've said, gender-based violence is not classist, it's not racist, it affects all of us. Once we empower women to own that, then we are able to win the fight a little bit faster against gender-based violence. Definitely we have to speak to men of all ages. When you look at education, Department of Education, Department of Social Development, and health departments, we are now having specific programs aimed at your younger boy at schools, from primary level up to secondary level. Our department specifically are working with tertiary institutions, where we're also targeting on the young male. We are targeting male that are in adult relationships with various help from other civil societies, because we believe that the perpetrator or the alleged or the would-be perpetrator should be having the opportunity to go into therapy or to go into some cognitive behavioral space where he or she can make sure that violence is not the way that we are looking at solving intimate problems.
Merita, one of the issues that's often raised by women that are survivors, say, of gender-based violence, one of the issues that they raise is that, it's often uncomfortable, or they find that going to the police isn't always helpful. I mean, I read a case of where a police officer told a woman to work things out, leave and go work things out with your husband, things like that, and I'm wondering, from that point where a woman does, build up the courage of going to a police station, that's a woman who sees that there is a problem. Are there alternatives of where to start, as opposed to going to a police station, which really is not welcoming to any kind of victim, to be very honest? What are the alternatives?
The alternatives are that we have two hotlines within South Africa. The one specific one is our gender-based violence hotline. May I mention the number?
Yes, please.
It is 0800 428 428.
Okay.
The National Department of Social Development prides itself in the fact that they also look at the economic situations of victims of gender-based violence. So there is two other options to access the same hotline, where you can send a please call me *120 *7867#. And if you can't send a please call me and you have an SMS bundle at hand, you can SMS HELP to 31531, and you will definitely get a response. You were speaking about a national outlook on gender-based violence. This hotline services all 9 provinces within South Africa.
Yeah. All right, Merita, thank you very much. All right, continue. Yeah, you can finish off.
Other ways that is also very beneficial is your lifeline, hotline, your NGOs within your areas where you live that render services to victims of gender-based violence. If you don't have the courage to go directly to a police station, you can go to an NGO and then go with a social worker or auxiliary social worker to a police station. However, if you have been hurt, if you have physical scars from the injury or from the incident that took place, we urge you to phone your nearest ambulance services, because then you will get medical assistance, and directly after that we will then continue with statement taking. I just want to conclude by saying you are correct. Many times victims do go to police stations and they are not treated the way they should be. Within Gauteng, we have a dedicated unit of professionals that handles this type of complaints within the province. If you will allow me, I will give you the number for that as well, because we really want to make sure that Gauteng becomes a place that is safe, a place where if I have been violated, I know that the state will garner its resources to fight the cause with me.
Yeah.
The number would be, may I share?
Yes, of course, please.
The number would be 011 689 3600. And what the person that's calling will ask for is for the provincial secretariat.
Okay. All right, Merita.
It is important for us as government to share these numbers, because once you are in contact with us, you become our full responsibility, and we will support you throughout a domestic violence or a sexual offences rape case.
All right, Merita, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for speaking to us, and I'll certainly get the team to try and share those numbers more often. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, that is Merita Ground, Gauteng Provincial Coordinator for GBV and femicide. Let me just call out a few of those numbers. The GBV line that she called out there is 0800 428 428. The please call me is star 120 star 7867 hash if you can't call. And the provincial line for the Gauteng department is 011 689 3600. So those are some of the numbers that she has called, and as I've said, I'll try to get the team to once in a while just kind of flash them on the screen. All right, let's get you more news after this.
On Network, we tell you all about how tech is changing everything.
Police officers in the UK are using new virtual reality platform to help train them in the use of taser stun guns.
We also need to start thinking about jobs of the future.
Understanding of technology is going to be critical for the future, not only in the tech industry, but in pretty much every industry. It's going to be essential to understand some part technology.
Join me, Spumelele Zondi, as I discuss changes that come with new tech on Network every Sunday at 8:30 p.m.
Health Talk is your go-to information hub for all things relating to your health. The show covers South African and international health stories ranging from personal health to policy and analysis. Viewers can also interact with our studio experts via phone-ins, Facebook, Twitter and voice notes. Be sure to tune into Health Talk Saturdays between 9 and 10 a.m.